I somehow think we match up better against them than Edmonton. But clearly Edmonton, was hurt, and we kind of benefited from that a little bit, I think, in that first round.
Well, I think the biggest thing is Vegas is not as quick and doesn't have as much speed as Edmonton. Edmonton is good, but there's a slower pace to Vegas compared to Edmonton, obviously, without McDavid on the Vegas Golden Knights.
It seems the Knights are getting healthier because they just got back.
Carlson all
William
of a sudden
Karlsson out of nowhere, who was supposed to be out for the year.
Welcome back, Benchwarmers. We have moved on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Some people who thought the Avs might have had a bad roster might feel dumb right now. Other people like Ryan Whitney might feel dumb for saying the Ducks had no chance against the Oilers. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back. Aaron and Tyler are here to join me again because we're talking hockey as well. Aaron, sorry, I didn't mean to give you too bad of a shout-out there at the beginning.
Hey, look, I did say they'd move past the Kings because, let's be real, the Kings were not a playoff team. They were very underserved for the playoffs.
All right, I'll give you that.
That's the easy part.
Tyler, thoughts on the opener before we break down any series or anything, sir?
Yeah, I mean,
Aaron's dumb.
I think that I don't know if we could have been more wrong with our playoff predictions in terms of the Dallas Stars winning the cup for all four of our brackets.
Is
busted
terrible.
bracket.
So anybody out there listening, we have an OVFTB bracket on the Stanley Cup Bracket Challenge if you want to join. The password is also OVFTB. It's very simple. It's not anything hidden. Right now, I know I'm screwed because I had Dallas winning the whole thing. I had Boston beating Buffalo. I had Tampa beating Montreal. I had Oilers beating Ducks. I didn't pick the Ducks, even though in here I didn't think so. In here I did. So I'm not excited, but I did see they're doing a second chance bracket challenge. But I'm like, I'm not doing that. The first chance didn't go well. I'm not taking another chance. So.
You don't want to be double wrong?
No, one time is enough. We don't need to make it
worse. That's fair. Yeah,
Plus,
I've got a worse off bracket.
I'll say, depending on how everybody else's brackets, I haven't looked at the standing, but maybe if Carolina wins the whole thing and gets there, maybe I have a chance to get some points. But
you get some points out of that for sure, yeah.
Now, I was going to say, the only problem with that, though, is I, too, picked Carolina. So anything that I think...
Don't worry. Zegers will take care of business.
Hey, get out of here. As Aaron also picked Pittsburgh, which is crazy.
Yeah, I did too. I'm not going to talk about that either. Anyways, before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of our new episodes. All right, guys. I'm going to give you guys the Eastern Conference first round and who won and how many games, and then the West as well. Then we'll talk about the matchups in the semifinals of the conference. So, starting off, this one was very easy and quick. Carolina 4-0 over Ottawa. I have to say, there was a person that commented on a video the last time we did this, or the first round preview, and he was like, Ottawa, the way they play, they might be able to hang and make a series. I commented back after 3 games. I said, I don't think it's going so well. So, 4-0. Well, way to go.
That was
Flyers.
my burner, Corey. That was my fake account.
Ottawa, and you picked the Flyers because you're. I don't even know why we're friends, Aaron. Okay, it's a Francis thing. That's what it is. Flyers beat the Penguins 4-2, which I kind of thought Penguins were going to make something out of it, but the old guys did get skated around pretty quickly. And now the Buffalo Sabres moving on, winning 4-2 over the Boston Bruins. So kind of a crazy ending of that last game with that guy. I don't know who it was, but basically trying to cut someone's head off with a stick. That was fun to watch. Way to go. And then the last series in the East, Montreal Canadiens win the series in 7, 4-3 against Tampa in Tampa Bay in Game 7, which was a magnificent game, especially because they only shot the puck, I think, 9 or 10 times and won 2-1. So kind of crazy.
Yep.
All right. Western Conference first round. We're going to talk about Aaron's Avs, of course. They won 4-0 over the Kings. As Aaron mentioned, the Kings should have been in the playoffs. And then here's the shocker for me and Tyler. Minnesota 4-2 over Dallas because we had Dallas winning the whole thing. So that sucked. And then, unfortunately, Vegas did win against Utah 4-2. I was kind of hoping for Utah. But the best one, the Anaheim Ducks 4-2 over the Edmonton Oilers and moving on. So that's
what a time to be alive.
Dude, right? And you guys haven't... Well, Aaron worked one playoff series, but we got swept by San Jose in 2018. Yep. We don't talk about it. So, essentially, this is everyone's first playoff run as far as you guys are concerned. Before we get into matchups, what are your thoughts on working the first round?
Well, I mean, what a first round. I'm surprised that there was only the one Game 7, because a lot of these matchups felt like they were going to go longer. But it seems like a lot of teams kind of took care of business quick and early. We had 2 sweeps, obviously. The LA one was no surprise. It was just unfortunate. They actually played, I think, pretty well, which is kind of disappointing for them. It's Kopitar's last year, obviously, but not enough to get past the fraud avalanche, so that's okay. That just shows how bad LA was. But overall, pretty good series. And the big surprise, obviously, for me, even as a Ducks fan, I had to be realistic. I thought there's no way the back-to-back Western champs are going out in the first round. We're a brand new team to the playoffs. It's not gonna. They just proved me wrong all over the place and scored goals like I've never seen this team ever do. And what a stressful and exciting first round that was for Ducks fans for sure. So, what do you think, Tyler?
Yes, I mean, as Aaron was talking about, it was pleasantly surprising. Although I am a true Ducks fan and picked the Ducks to beat the
You
Oilers in
did.
six,
Rub it in.
In
so
six.
Okay.
got
Perfect.
those
Perfect
extra
bracket.
3 points.
Wow.
Love to see that.
How'd everything else go?
Great, just great, Bob. I mean, I'm still in first place last time I checked, but it's a very low first place.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think Aaron was definitely right, though. I mean, it's very great and very surprising that we were able to knock them off. And we were talking the other day, like there was only really that game five. I feel like that we weren't into it. Like the rest of the
Yeah.
games, even that game one loss, it was still
Yeah.
a very closely fought game. So it's a pleasant surprise. Yeah, obviously McDavid came out with the injury after the fact. Same as Dickinson and other players, obviously. But very happy for that Ducks victory. Hopefully, we'll get another one soon.
We will see. We will see. All right. So now we're into the second round. We'll save what series we obviously care most about for last. We'll get to the other ones. After the first two games, Avalanche are up 2-0 on the Wild. I mean, that first game was insane, but yes, tonight's game was not much better for Minnesota. What is going on? Are the Avs just going to go 8-0 here, guys? What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with Colorado that they very clearly have the center depth to beat really anyone in the league, unfortunately. When your first line center for Minnesota is Joel Eriksson Ek, Ryan Hartman, maybe Michael McCarron, like it's just even Nicholas Waugh as the fourth line center is probably better than most of those guys. So it's just, I think the other thing too Minnesota's had a battle with is Wallstead had a great first round series obviously against Dallas. He very clearly looked good at the end of the regular season that when Aaron and I were there in Minnesota or St. Paul, excuse me.
Same thing.
Obviously, exactly. Obviously, they had Gustafsson play game two, but I think at this point, like it's just very clear that Colorado's top guys are outperforming them now. I'm very curious to see. Minnesota was rocking at the end of the regular season. They seem to be rocking that first round series against Dallas. I'm fascinated to see if maybe Minnesota could steal one, but I think it's at least going to be 3-1 going back to Colorado for game five.
Yikes. Okay. Aaron, your initial thoughts on the first two games and what you might think go down the rest of the way.
Well, that first game is just for me, the worst kind of playoff game because it's fun, it's exciting, but man, that's sloppy as heck. That's not the kind of stuff that is supposed to fly in the playoffs, right? Like that many goals being scored. The lead changes too. Minnesota ended up taking a lead in the middle of it.
Dude, it was 3-0 like that for Colorado. And next thing you looked up, it was 3-3. I was like, what just happened? Aaron, are you on delay right now?
Yeah. Okay. It's just insane. But I think Minnesota still has stuff going for them. And I'm not just saying that because I was hating on the Avs off the top here. I do think that they will come home and at least take one, if not two games of that series there at home. You go into game 5 back in Colorado and maybe be tied or, only down by one. I don't know if they can pull it off in the end here. The Avs, despite my many gripes about their depth role players, everyone's showing up. So, that's why you play the playoff games, because if I look at this team on paper, I think they've definitely got a lack of depth in their forward group especially. But hey, if guys like McKinnon and you have Makar running the offense, I mean, like I said in the last episode, Nazem Kadri was a great pickup for them.
Oh, yeah.
Probably should have never left. And honestly, that's probably part of the reason why they've struggled besides goaltending, which game 1, not so good. Game 2, a little better. We'll see how Wedgwood holds up or if they need to switch up to a different goalie here. Blackwood, right? We go to the other of the Wood brothers, right?
No, as you said, like this
all the same around.
I just think the series in general, like even tonight, I think it was 3-1 after 2. I don't know if that was the final score now, but Colorado is just too much. Now you said there's not a lot of depth. I get you, but the stars at the top are so damn good that they're just
some of the best in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And Makar alone, I mean, my God, that guy has been so good.
Worth the price of admission. That guy's insane.
Absolutely. Now, I am with you, Tyler, on Minnesota, though, being hot going into the playoffs because, like, the Ducks were 2-8 going in, so that was part of the reason I didn't pick them in the bracket. But Minnesota was hot coming in. I know Dallas and them had kind of played each other near the end, so maybe that kind of helped having a recent matchup to kind of play off of.
Taste.
Although you would think, not giving too much away, but your division opponents, so you know each other basically inside and out. So I guess I'm kind of shocked that Dallas lost, but now that Minnesota's here, I thought they would hang with Colorado, and so far that is not the case. So I don't know what to expect, but I'm with you guys. It's probably going to be over in 5 unless Minnesota wins 2 at home and makes it a series coming back to Colorado tied. I don't think this is going to go very long or very far. So unfortunately for Aaron, the Avs are going to move on. Also keeps the President's Trophy curse not a thing right now if they keep moving on. So
for now,
see how that goes
for now, it's coming.
I said for now. For now. All right, now we're going to jump to the East because obviously, as we said, we want to leave the Ducks one for last. So let's go to the other one that's already been 2 games in. The Hurricanes, the first game just made the Flyers look bad. Now, that could have been Flyers coming off the short rest from Game 7 and Carolina sweeping the first round, being at home ready to go. Today's game or the second game was a little closer. Obviously, went to overtime. But does anybody think the Flyers have a chance against the Hurricanes?
Me.
Of course you do. All right, Aaron, I'll let you go first on this one. What do you got and why besides Zegras is on the team?
Besides nothing. No. No. I'm just kidding. I do think that their goalie Vladar has been quite good for them through the playoffs, through these first round in the couple games here. More than I expected, because I did not see him as a very good playoff caliber goalie, and he's definitely kind of proving that he earned this job for the Philly net there. That's going to help them a ton because Carolina has offense that's buzzing. And I know me and you, Tyler, were talking the other day about how it doesn't really make sense how their lines are rolling. The Taylor Hall line with Stankoven. I love Stankoven, but
he's so good.
That's just a line that doesn't scream like it should be putting up as much offense as they have so far. So that's good for the Canes. They've got a lot going there. And Freddie Anderson, a former Duck that we all know, still, Tyler not a fan, but still running. Obviously, this long into his career is pretty cool to see. But I mean, I do think they have a chance to make it interesting. It's totally still a series they can win. Nah, I can't even say it. Carolina's probably going to steamroll them, but that's probably where their run ends because they tend to not make it past the conference. So that's kind of what we got fated for the Hurricanes here. But yeah, it's probably going their way.
All right, Tyler, your thoughts so far after 2 games? Does Philly even have a chance?
Yes, I mean, I think the question is, do we think that Philly lasts longer? Do we think that Minnesota lasts longer? I mean, it's kind of an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, I think as both of you alluded to, like that second game was clearly a lot closer, especially with Philly kind of having the lead for the majority of the game before obviously Carolina tied it late and then of course went in OT. I think ultimately Carolina's system just wears teams down. I definitely think Philly, unfortunately, has a good building in terms of their fans. Those wonderful scumbags.
Yes,
but
they know
I think
it.
ultimately, I think kind of similar to Minnesota. I think they could certainly win one of the games realistically, and then I definitely think I'm a lot more confident that series probably ends in 5 because I also said whether it was just maybe my spite and my pride talking that the Flyers would get swept. So. That would be cool to get, just maybe one round off, obviously. But no, I mean, I definitely think Carolina has the team to do it. I mean, Freddie is playing out of his mind. I think that this Anderson is basically the Anderson that Aaron never shuts up about how he's better than Gibson all 10 plus years ago.
What a great series in Nashville.
Nope,
I'm a Gibby
2016.
Guy. I'm a Gibby
2016.
Nope, never gonna convince me of that. You're crazy. Anyways, go ahead.
At least you have a reason, though. You're just trying to stick up for your ginger brother. Like, I understand.
No, honestly, okay, let me explain. It has nothing to do with what he looks like with the red hair. That is a thing, but no. The reason is when it was both him and Gibby. This is my biggest thing with Gibby. I'll never let it go. When Freddie plays a great game and they ask him after the game, "How did you play?" I played good. When he plays a bad game, "How'd you play today?" I played bad. Very even keel, which is what I want in a goalie. It's like a closer, or a catcher. I want a very even keel guy who knows what's going on. When Gibby makes a great save, hold on, let me do what Gibby does. Let me take off my helmet.
Yeah, do the hair. Yeah,
everybody know. Okay.
I miss Gibby.
Oh wait, I just allowed a goal and now we're losing. Oh great, thanks for flipping your hair, Gibby. That was awesome. So I'm glad you're having fun in Detroit, not in the playoffs. Anyways, go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could understand that. I mean, I think clearly. I would take the hair flip over Mr. Unprepared letting in 12 goals on the first shots of the game this year. But, that's a separate conversation for us today.
Coming up soon.
I don't know. That's crazy. Anyways, no, I mean, I think that even just unfortunately, as much as that pains me to say it, I think the skill of Philadelphia will probably steal a game too. I mean, other than their fan base, Martone's had an incredible end of the regular season. He had an incredible start to the playoffs, obviously. Zegras has kind of been quiet, and I'm not saying that as a Zegras hater at this point. I just think that
No, but
he hasn't really done much, so I kind of expect him to at least have a game. I mean, Drysdale
A
seemingly is kind of
moment.
killing it,
yeah.
which I mean, Cutter's still better, but still kind of weird. But yep,
Aaron, you
yep.
okay over
Thank you,
there?
Aaron.
Visual aid.
Oh goodness. All right. So as far as I'm concerned with Phillies and Hurricane or Flyers, sorry, Phillies. Wow. Flyers and
Oh, the
Hurricane.
Phillies. Let's
I
go.
don't maybe the Flyers will win one at home and probably game 3 because it'll be the first. That's usually how it works. The first game home, you're all pumped up. The
Yeah.
other team's up too, like take the foot off the pedal a little bit. But then I think Carolina bounces back, takes game 4, and then ends it in 5. I think Carolina is a team on a mission. Them and Colorado right now both look just determined and ready to get to a final and see who's hoisting that cup this year. So I'm kind of thinking that's what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be very long. So, all right, one more Eastern semifinal matchup. We have the Canadiens going to the Sabres. Now, this is the only series that hasn't started. It starts tomorrow. So before it gets started, the Buffalo again hadn't won a playoff series in I don't know, it felt like 2,500 years. So they're here and now they're hosting the Canadiens, who honestly I didn't expect to beat Tampa. So Aaron, let's start with you again. What are your thoughts on Sabres and Canadiens?
Well, I mean, you said it probably the best right there. There is no way I expected them to beat Tampa, and I still kind of don't even believe it. The other day I was talking, or it was earlier today actually, I was talking to a fan about the matchup, and I said Tampa Buffalo, and I was like, oh, never mind.
No,
That's
okay,
that's wrong.
so funny you say that. I had a guy at the Playhouse Coffee thing I was working.
Yeah.
Of course, if you haven't already known, the Ducks are doing a pop of the
Stop
Playhouse
by.
Coffee. It's in downtown.
Oh,
Orange
look at that
City.
shirt. What a nice
Come
shirt,
visit us.
Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler's talking. Got the shirt there. But a guy told me, he's like, oh man, I definitely think Tampa's going to win the next round against Boston. I was like, Tampa
They
lost today. He was like, no, they didn't. I was like, they lost to Montreal.
And Boston lost too.
Yeah,
He was like, no way. So I had to show him the replay
came
and,
from
and
another
the goal
dimension.
because the goal was amazing, let alone that Vasilevsky had no chance on that. But I mean, yeah, Tampa lost. So to your point, other people have already assumed that Tampa was going to move on as well. So you're not the only one.
I mean, they just got all elements of the game locked down in that game 7, except for the finish. They just could not find a goal to save their lives. They they get that tying goal that ends up being the lead for Montreal late. And kind of a familiar story to what we're going to talk about later, but just because you run most of the gamut of a game doesn't mean you're going to win.
Yeah.
And it kind of is disappointing for them for sure, because they played, I think, probably their best games in the series too. I think that's part of the reason why they ended up giving up this series, is they didn't look too great in the first couple games.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to the next series. Buffalo is beyond playing with house money now. They're just loving life, and if you've seen those guys, the Blade crew, they're all on their inline skates, rocking. They were running through Boston, just causing a mess, causing a muck. The whole city of Buffalo. They're all just so excited about this, and I can't help but feel great for them, because we only felt a fraction of their pain with our playoff drought, and they, oh man, I mean, to see them at least get a playoff series win, that's already great. But I do think they're kind of suited well to play against Montreal. Their goaltending needs to hold up the way it has been. Alex Lyons played quite well through the first round here. If he can keep that up, or if it ends up going to Pekka Luukkonen, then if whoever's in net holds them together there, I think they have the offense to get past Montreal. Montreal has good young players. They're still in the middle of this retool, because it wasn't that long ago they were in the Cup final. So they've kind of done a really good job here, switching it up on the fly. So overall, though, I think Buffalo, this is their chance to go on a conference final run, which is insane to say. Never thought I'd see that. So
I know, right? Kind of crazy to think out loud. All right, Tyler, your thoughts on the Canadiens and Sabres as they get started tomorrow?
Yeah, it's similarly echoing what Aaron was saying. I think that we are all very surprised that Montreal ended up beating Tampa. I think that it was something that just talent wise, you could definitely argue maybe that the top end talent of Caulfield, Suzuki, Hudson from Montreal's perspective is better than Tampa's, Gensel, Point, all those guys.
Yeah.
True.
I think uh, obviously, I think one of the things that has kind of been really up in the air was kind of the status of Hedman, and it was really nice to see him come out and obviously talk a little bit
Yeah.
about the struggles that he has had. Obviously it's something that doesn't get talked about a lot from a professional athlete perspective,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it took a lot of courage. So just want to say props to Victor on that. Yeah, I'm unfortunately surprised that Montreal won, but I definitely am rooting for Buffalo round 2. Um, kind of feels like a 6 game series. I don't know why. I mean, I think that Montreal could steal a couple. To Aaron's point, Lyon definitely kind of was a difference maker in net, I feel like, in that series against Boston. Not that UPL was bad, but, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had a couple soft goals. I want to say it was game 3, that ultimately led them to switch to Lyon, and they haven't really looked back since then. So um, I think that the city of Buffalo is probably, this might be a hot take here, the biggest possible catalyst for them succeeding at home. The more
Yeah.
that of all the teams that have played, obviously Colorado, Vegas, like places that are known as like, obviously Montreal, like very in-depth, very crazy building atmospheres, like Buffalo's nuts.
Yeah.
Like I think that they
Dude,
really
Buffalo fans are
can.
so crazy. They sell out that same stadium for the Buffalo Bandits from the NLL. Those fans are insane.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, and it's,
Insane. The key bank.
yeah, I definitely want to see Buffalo move on. Also just because I enjoy seeing Canadian teams lose, so that's always a good thing for me. Um, yeah, I think Buffalo's going to win the series. I just
Wow. So I am the only one picking Montreal then.
Oh, look at that. A little
I
different
don't
here.
know what it is. There's something about Aaron. You kind of made the point for me a little bit earlier. You mentioned that some of these guys were there when they made that cup final run that they weren't
It's
supposed
true.
to. Then they were able to kind of rebuild and
Yeah.
retool a little bit over the couple of years. Martin St. Louis has been a great coach and system
He
there.
has been, yeah.
I don't know, for some reason, I feel like, as you said, Buffalo's playing with house money, but now I feel like they're a little overconfident and Montreal's coming in for business.
It's
So I
definitely
think
possible.
Montreal's going to win this in 6. I don't even think Boston or
Whoa,
Buffalo's
not even going to 7.
conference finals. So just my thoughts, but we'll see
Yeah.
how that goes. All right.
Well, as long as Josh Allen stays away from the arena, because that was the
Hey,
one
hey,
game they really
hey,
played
hey,
bad.
hey,
They'll
hey,
be-
wait
they'll
a
be
minute, wait a
fine.
minute. We don't stand Josh Allen slander here. Wait a minute.
All right, gentlemen, this is the only series we care about for real at this point: the Ducks versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Now,
Let's
game
go.
1 yesterday, the Ducks lost. It was a good game. Could have easily won that game. Jackson Lacombe, shoot the puck, don't pass it anymore.
Oh,
But
my
other than
goodness.
that, the icing call was. I know Quinville was livid on the bench, so I kind of
Losing
understand
it.
where he's coming from. I've never seen him that mad as a Duck coach. I know he's done it
Yeah,
before,
correct.
but that's the first time as a coach here in Anaheim. You're like, oh shit, he is mad. Thoughts on so far, first game, obviously, and how we feel going into the series. I don't know. I feel great, but let's start with Tyler. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best, Corey. Like realistically, watching that game, like admittedly, I didn't get to watch a ton of it as I was working the watch party, but it was still something that, the bits that I was able to really watch, we seemingly control play a lot. We would carry the puck into the zone a lot. Maybe we're not getting the best high danger shot chances, but we definitely beat them in shots overall. You seem to have better possession numbers. Obviously our power play definitely needs to be able to kind of crack through their penalty kill or power kill, as
Yeah.
Aaron's going to call it here in a
Oh,
second. Um, and I think if we clearly look back at that Edmonton series, like the power play seemingly was a difference maker for us, and it's been a long time since we've had an important power play in the postseason. It's different to, say when we had Zegras and Drysdale and those kind of like younger offensive guys to be able to have one, but to have an actually potent power play during the playoffs, like that's where I really want to see a guy like Chris Kreider step up, as Aaron is lovely rocking his jersey. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's something that, ultimately, like Carter Hart, unfortunately, just outdueled Lucas Dostal. I mean, I really don't know if I'd say either of those 2 goals that Dosti gave up were soft, which he's played fairly well so far. Now he's going to let in 6
Yeah.
tomorrow, realistically. So,
no, don't say that.
but no, I think that I am a lot more optimistic about our chances after our initial game 1 loss in this Vegas series than I was initially about the Edmonton series. That first
Yeah.
game, obviously, like we talked about, we still lost it, but it wasn't like, oh, it felt like if we had 1 or 2 bounces, it goes the other way.
Yeah.
Whereas this Vegas series very much was, if that icing doesn't, it gets called correctly, it's still a tie
I
game.
mean,
And
even
especially since
post
we just
game,
scored. So,
Tortorello said like they played the better game. We just got the bounce and we won. So they know they didn't play
Yeah.
their best and we did, and they were lucky to
mhm.
get the win. So I'm with you. It does feel very familiar to the first series against Edmonton where we played well. We lost on the road, but I think the team feels confident that they can hang with them. Plus, it's a division opponent. We know them well. They were only 2 or 3 points ahead of us overall. It's not like they were 110 points and we were at 95. Like we were right there. So I feel confident going in. Aaron, your thoughts?
Well, as Tyler alluded to, I may or may not have been present in the arena last night and had to drive home the same night.
All right,
With
so
the
let's
loss,
backtrack there a little bit. So since there was a watch party at Honda, and not everybody is necessary or needed there because there's a lot less people and a lot less things to do for us in merchandise at that point. Aaron was able, since he had the day off, to drive out to Vegas and go to game 1. Now, unfortunately, it
Yeah.
was a loss, but we mentioned a good game. So sorry,
Great
continue on
game.
with your story.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as you mentioned, like that was what I was looking for in the first round, just from my memories of, I have to say from my memories so long ago of past Ducks playoff runs, was that intensity and that just back and forth. The pace was fast. They kept up with them. And like Tyler mentioned, they had the puck most of the night, and it was clear that they were just itching to break through at some point. And disappointing kind of breakdown, slight lapse breakdown led to that first goal, and they're playing down the rest of the game. But it's very clear that they're, I would say, a fair even match against the Knights, without a doubt. I somehow think we match up better against them than Edmonton, but clearly Edmonton, was hurt, and we kind of benefited from that a little bit, I think, in that first round.
Well, I think the biggest thing is Vegas is not as quick and doesn't have as much speed as Edmonton. Edmonton is good, but there's a slower pace to Vegas compared to Edmonton, obviously, without McDavid on the Vegas Golden Knights. So,
oh, for sure. But we are dealing with kind of the opposite problem, whereas the Oilers were kind of on the downturn in terms of health. It seems the Knights are getting healthier because they just got back. William Karlsson out of nowhere, who was supposed to be out for the year, and here he is, and he actually was somewhat noticeable last night. The big takeaway from last night, and kind of looking forward in the series, though, is the missed opportunities. It's the Jackson Lacombe missing, and I love Lacombe.
Okay, I'm gonna give my thoughts on Lacombe, because this is what I think happened. I think they run that play so many times in practice that they never have that open shot to Jackson. So in his mind, he's like, that goal is not going to be open for me, so I have to pass it because it's going to be open on the other side for me.
Yeah, exactly. It was a one-touch pass, and I think the other thing too is he didn't expect Carter Hart to bite so hard on the Karlsson shot. Like, he's making the assumption that he's going to move across to respect the pass, but it didn't happen. It was the complete opposite. He has Carter Hart locked in on Karlsson by the time he reacts. Jackson's already sent it back the other way, and
Jackson's head, soon as he lets it go, and he looks, he's like, "Oh no,
I'm expecting a big game from him next game. He's gonna want to. He was our best player, I think, in the first round. So definitely got to see him step up in the next one for sure, I would think. But just overall, it's kind of amazing to finally be at this point. I was I forget who I was telling this to, but basically the thought of us finally playing Vegas is interesting because they're basically the team that's made it impossible for the Ducks to even get close to playoffs. The new expansion team taking a playoff spot with the exception of 1 year, every year they've been in existence. So it's kind of nice to be here, and I'd like to be able to say that they could knock them off here. That'd be a fun story to have. The first matchup against the Knights, and we can take it. Another thing we can hold over LA because they lost their first match and only match against the Knights. So also that would be fun. Point. But it's going to be an exciting series regardless. I think if it's anything like last night, it's going to be one of the better second round matchups, I think, for sure.
I agree. Okay, so going into game 2 tomorrow, a little side story here as well. Again, watch party at Honda Center. Not as many things or as many people needed. So the three of us are going to game 2 tomorrow in Vegas. So we're leaving in the morning. We're going out for the game. We're coming back because we got to keep working on Thursday and get ready for game 3 at the Honda Center on Friday.
Yep.
So game 2 tomorrow, I kind of feel like we're going to win. Now, again, this series already feels very Edmonton-esque. Yep. So I kind of have the same feeling. Now, if we don't win tomorrow, then we'll discuss that. But if we come out of there 1-1, as long as we take care of home ice the next 3 times we are there, we can win the series in 6 and move on. Again, Vegas, we know them. They know us. The only thing that's different is they fired the coach the last, 8 games and whatever, and now he's in there.
Less.
So that's a little weird, but also I feel like the dead coach bounce, as I've learned over the years, when they initially fire a guy, everyone's like, great, comes down to earth a little bit, and I think that's what's going to happen in the series. I think Quenneville's going to have these guys ready. Obviously, they were yesterday. They should have won. We should be up 1-0. So I think 1-1 tomorrow. We come back home, and then we take care of the business 3 and 4 on Friday and Sunday. But
nice.
We'll see.
I'll take it.
So you guys, I have us in 6. What are your thoughts on how long the series lasts? I know we are going to pick the Ducks. So Tyler, how many games do you have the Ducks winning in?
I too have us in 6, and not to completely beat a dead horse in terms of copying you completely, but I very much think that the setup of you steal one of those games initially in Vegas, 2 would be perfect, obviously. Win 3 and 4 at home, maybe give them game 5 on the road, and then win 6 at home again. So I think that would be pretty much an ideal series for us. Sure, you could argue it'd be nice to be able to win game 5 in their building and eliminate them. Yes, but I don't want to be greedy. I'm just happy to win. So
I agree. Aaron, how many games?
I do think, despite how well they played against them last night, I think that's going to work against us a little bit here.
Ooh, okay.
I think Vegas will wake up, be a little more ready for that. I still think we take game 2, come back home, but I do have this series going in 7, which
Oh.
I would rather not see because I kind of had already previous plans for when Game 7 is supposed to be. But hey, if it ends up being a Game 7, those all go out the door, and I'm gonna be in the arena for the watch party for that.
There won't be a watch party in the arena.
It's gonna be. Yes, there will be.
Mm-mm.
No, Stars on
Ice.
Golden Road. Let's drink some beer. Except not me. I'm working.
Road Game 7 on the Saturday the 16th would be the same day as Stars on Ice at Honda
You're
Center.
right.
So there will not be a watch party at Honda Center. Hopefully we do it at 6 and we don't got to worry about it.
That's the ideal.
Yeah.
That's the ideal. Yeah, but I do think because they weren't able to capitalize on that one win, that it's going to lead to maybe I could have seen maybe if we steal, both games on the road there, and I still think they're going to somehow. I don't think they'll hold up perfect at home in this round. I think they might give up one game to the Knights at home. So that's kind of how I see it going. Maybe give up game.
Well,
we get a little back and forth. Win 2, lose 3, win 4, and then kind of come back, lose 5, go the other way, win 6, and then take 7. That would be the hope.
Other issue with this series is there's going to be Knights fans in Honda Center. It's going to be hopefully not very many of them because our fans don't sell tickets, but
I got something on that. So, as somebody who actively has a friend that went to Game 1, and obviously as we talked about going to Game 2, an interesting tidbit, though, that seems to be very different about our building versus their building. So you can get in the door for $80, $90 for games 1 or 2. It's $230 plus to get in the doors for games 3 and 4. So I think that will work in our favor. Not saying that Vegas fans aren't going to be willing to do so, of course, but I think to an extent, like it's kind of that recency success bias. I mean, obviously they've won the cup in 23, but when you've been able to go to multiple playoff runs, maybe you have a family that or friends that would maybe normally come down that 4-hour drive from Vegas and decide maybe it's not really worth it. Maybe we'll do an extra day at Disney. Maybe we'll do just one of the 2 games. So I think I certainly anticipate more Vegas fans in our building than we had Edmonton.
Oilers,
we definitely did not have many in Edmonton, realistically. But on the contrary, on the flip side, I should say, I'm curious to see how many Ducks fans are in Vegas. I've been able to see 2 games so far in Vegas previously. I saw one of the games the first year, and then Aaron and I both went to a game the last year, the 30th year Cutters debut. So that was really cool.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
and there's always been a good amount of Ducks fans in the building, so I'm really curious to see if anybody wants to make the trip up for Game 2. I don't know if maybe Aaron can talk about the fans in the building for Game 1 necessarily, but curious.
There was a good amount. There was definitely a good amount. I think I was maybe a little expecting more fans for Game 1, but they were spread out too, so that's kind of part of it too. Well, it's nice and easy to see us now. We're a little visible if you're wearing the new gear. There were a lot of fans wearing the old Plum and I saw a Niedermeyer Cup jersey, obviously the word mark.
Nice.
So it's that one kind of blends in the best, I think, with the Vegas jerseys, which is kind of funny because it's like they have their that reverse retro, the black and gold one that they used to have. So
that's right.
Kind of similar. Right. But they were there. They were definitely there. You felt the presence for sure. At the gas station on the way out, that the Terribles on the way out of Vegas, if you ever make that drive. There was like 3 other Ducks fan groups kind of walking around getting their snacks for the road trip home, and I'm like, oh good, I'm not alone here. We're all had the same idea. So
that's awesome. Hey, whatever fans we can get in another building during the playoffs, I'll take it, and hopefully we don't have a lot of Vegas Knights fans in our building.
That's the hope.
All right. So let us know in the comments below who you got moving on to the conference finals. Also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok at RVUFTB and tell us again why the Ducks are going to win the cup, because that's all we are worried about here at RVU on from the bench. So any last thoughts, guys, before we sign off and get ready to go to bed so we can get to Vegas tomorrow for Game 2?
Nope, not much here. I think we're just ready for a win in Game 2, I think. The fact that we can say that we're in the second round is already just amazing. So let's go
considering you're the guy who before the season started, we're not going to make it. Yeah.
Well, I didn't say that publicly. Publicly, I said we're going to make it.
You did it. You did it both ways. It's publicly on here. You did it publicly in front of the staff a different way. You're a liar.
Different way there.
That's terrible, but it worked out.
As much as I love to bury Aaron, he did admittedly say at the welcome back, Ducks playoffs.
Yep.
So I do want to give him credit as much as I hate to give him credit, unfortunately. But again, he also picked against us round 1, so
that's not because I didn't want to. I just didn't think we were good enough. But we're here now. So.
I picked against us the worst too. I picked us to lose in 5. So
now my question for Aaron though. So obviously, I think I'm assuming you were Leo Game 1, right?
Yeah, I'm not wearing that.
So are we going Jackson? Are we going Jackson Game 2? So
nothing's the same. Nothing's the same for Game 2. Okay. I will wear Jackson because my only other road jersey, but. Maybe that'll get him going too. Like that's get the motivation here. You get the fan support. I'm going new hat, new jersey, nothing the same. Not even wearing the Vans, even though I like those Vans a lot. The Ducks Vans, different shoes. Clean slate. New luck, even though Vegas always has the luck.
All right. Well, if anybody out there listening is going to be at the game tomorrow in Vegas, feel free to look for us. We will be there rooting on the Ducks and hopefully leaving the building with a win. So, again, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I always appreciate your time and coming on here and doing this. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Until next time, Informers, stay ready.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.